What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Hot List. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to me today. I come to y'all around 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. We hang out and talk real estate. We talk properties new to the market with recent price reductions or something unique about the property that I want to share with y'all and want y'all to know. I also answer a question of the day that is submitted by a listener of the podcast. To find out how you get your question answered on air, just stick around till the end. Finally, I recognize and thank a sponsor of the week each and every single week. If you'd like some more information about what it takes to become a sponsor of the week and be featured on the hot list, all you got to do is simply stick around for a few minutes and I will get you that information. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in, whether you're catching this live or you are listening to this on your podcast player of choice. I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to jump in here, join me, and get educated. The purpose behind the hot list is we do talk about properties that are new to the market or something unique. A lot of the houses that I choose, there's something about the property that really stands out, and I want people to know about it. Even in a market that is as fast paced as what it is right now, it's still worth talking about these homes for those that haven't seen it or haven't had a chance, or don't get those dings from whatever app that you're using. And that's why I do this. Now, keep in mind the properties that I talk about at the time of recording, they are active and they are live. Once those houses go under contract and are sold, those links that I include will no longer work because the property is no longer going to be available. So just keep that in mind. And with that, we are going to get into it. So the property we're talking about today is a newly listed property. The address is 1232 Presby Drive, right here in the Emporia area. This is a ranch style house, 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom house. It's 2,229 square feet of finished space. It has an attached 2-car garage, currently listed for $299,000, courtesy of Real Estate. Now, what I like about this house, and that it's worth noting, not just that it's 5-bedroom, not just that it has a basement. It's in a northwest location. It's in a little quiet neighborhood that people drive by and may not even realize that it's there. So it's one of those areas that could be a hidden gem, and it's definitely worth looking into. So it has a partially finished basement, not just the two car garage, 2-car driveway. It has an additional concrete pad on the side of the house. It's got a hot tub room. That's right, hot tub room. Of course, that would be for therapeutic reasons, right? And it's got a fireplace and a privacy fence. So all you have to do is check out the property for yourself. I have included a link in the description. While that property is available for sale, you can check it out yourself. All you got to do is click on the link. It'll take you to my website so you can see the property for yourself. Check out the pictures. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me through my website, or you can jump back to Facebook or your podcast player of choice. If you are a pre-approved buyer that is not currently working with another agent and have an interest in the house, let me know, shoot me a message, and as long as it's still available, we will get you set up and get rolling. All right, before I get to the question of the day, I do want to recognize and thank our sponsor of the week this week, and that is Gravel City Roasters right here in the Emporia area. It is a locally owned and locally roasted coffee house here in the Emporia area, and most of the people in this area know them for Evan's Kicker and Frank's Crowbar. Now, I personally don't know what those are. What I love about Gravel City, every time I go in there, I always get one of their house coffees because typically they have a different blend on certain days of the week, and I love just getting a sample or getting the house coffee that they have brewed that day. I have never had a coffee from Gravel City that I have not liked, I have not enjoyed. Especially those house coffees, like to change things up, roll the dice a little bit, and definitely worth checking out. So they are located at 608 Commercial Street, right here in the Emporia area. I've included a link in the description that'll take you right to their Facebook page, and that's the best way to see what type of updates they have going on. It also has their contact information as far as website and phone number if you want to call and check their business hours. They do have those on Facebook as well, but definitely make sure that you check them out. From there, you can walk through the downtown area, enjoy your coffee, get back in your car, go to work, whatever the case may be. Make sure that you make time to stop by Gravel City Roasters and pick you up some brew. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor of the week and be featured on the hot list, all you got to do is shoot me a message or drop me a comment on the podcast player that you're listening to this. I will be happy to have a conversation of what it takes to become a sponsor of the week and be featured on the hot list. So if you guys have any questions, all you got to do is shoot me a message and let me know. That's going to bring us to my favorite portion of the show, and that is the question of the day. So the question of the day is submitted by a listener of the podcast more often than not. Sometimes it comes from past clients or my son, as you guys know. And I love answering these questions because these questions typically have to do with real estate. And that's what this show is about, is real estate. So if you have a real estate question, you're not sure where to start, I would be happy to be the real estate resource that you reach out to, you think of first when it comes to these questions. A lot of times I'm not only educating everybody listening to this, but I'm educating myself as well if it's not something that I'm as familiar with as some other topics and does require some homework on my end, whether that's research or talking to other agents, inspectors, contractors, whatever the case may be, just to get that information, not for myself, but for you as well. So if you have a question, there is a great chance that somebody else has that same real estate question and they're not sure where to start. So make sure you keep these questions coming, because that's how I'm able to continue to do these videos and continue these episodes, are from your questions. Today's question of the day: how do I know when it's time to paint my house? Well, my simple answer is, I guess, whenever my wife tells me to. Because we all know there is nothing like a fresh coat of paint to spruce up the inside of your house. Well, the same actually goes for the outside of your house too, because it can make it look and feel like new again. And while it is unlikely, hopefully, that you'll want or need to paint your house each year, how do you know when it's time to paint? What we're going to cover today are going to be some of the biggest signs that it's time to break open those paint cans and prep them brushes. Before I get into that though, I do want to discuss a little of the purpose behind the paint. Yes, it does look nice. Yes, it makes your house look nicer as well. But it also serves another major purpose: waterproofing. For many homes, especially older homes, there is actually little standing in between the siding and the living space of your home. And this is all the more reason that not just paint, but good paint matters. And what the paint does is it waterproofs the siding and helps prevent moisture from crossing from outside into your home itself. and this helps slow down damage over time, like wood rot and damage from insects. Paint is truly one of the best defenses that your home can have, so make sure that you put some time, you put some effort, and some money into it and put that best foot forward. What we're going to talk about today are going to be the top 4 reasons it's time to repaint. Number one, before I go too far, these are not in any particular order. These are just the most common ones. So not in any particular order, just the most common ones. So first one, chipping paint. Now, many know that chipping paint, whether it's inside or outside, is a sign it's probably time to consider painting. There is a fine line between a little acceptable flaking and serious chipping that's coming off your siding. If you're noticing a few small flakes here and there, make sure that you're aware of it, you're keeping an eye on it, and this is the stage that you should be considering and researching a new color or the same color, but it's not necessarily time for that hard stop to get everything painted. Now, if you're seeing big chips or chunks of paint that are falling off after a windstorm, rainstorm, whatever the case may be, and you're starting to see this in multiple places, this is a sign that you've waited too long and procrastinated too much before painting. Number 2 on the list, waterproof is failing. And that's why I wanted to cover the waterproofing before I got into this, so I wouldn't have to go into detail here. So if your paint is no longer keeping the water from soaking into the siding, and instead your siding is absorbing that water, at that point your waterproofing has failed, because generally what you want to see is water bead up on the siding and then just kind of work its way down the siding towards the ground. If your paint is too far gone, your siding is actually soaking up that rainwater, and you need to get your house painted as soon as possible, because if you continue to wait, you risk further and more serious damage to your home. Which brings us to number 3, damage. Funny how that works. Damage is going to be, there's visible siding damage. That's a good sign that it's time to paint. Maybe you fix some holes in your siding created by woodpeckers, storms, falling trees. Just make sure that the paint matches. If it's a small area, generally you can get it to blend in well. Sometimes you can get lucky if you've had to replace multiple of these, and you can just get away with painting one side of the house. Sometimes that happens. Not all the time, but sometimes it happens. Keep in mind, large patches that you've had to do, or entire section or siding replacements, these typically aren't going to, the paint isn't going to match, so you may need to paint that whole side of the house or the whole house. Also, just a quick note, even if it's the same bucket of paint that you finished painting before and you had some extra, it may not match, because over time UV light actually breaks down the pigments in the paint color, and depending on your paint color will depend on if and how long it takes to get broke down. Hang on just for a second. Gotta get some water. All right. And that's going to bring us to our final one, which is number 4. You're ready for a change. I kind of hinted on this a little bit earlier when I referenced my wife. In my opinion, this is one of the most popular reasons houses are painted, because, maybe you or your spouse just paint the house because you absolutely hate the color of the house. You know what? Sometimes that's an easier process than when you're painting it due to damaged paint or damaged siding or worn out paint. Just make sure if there's no damage, just make sure that you're prep work is done right. So the same things that you would do to prep it if there's any type of damage or anything you need to patch, same thing you need to do with the process here. That way the paint adheres properly to the siding, and that waterproofing is raised back up, and you're going to protect your home all over again. So that is going to wrap it up for me in the hot list. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, I'm your host, Matt Johnson with Keller Williams Realty. I do this because your experience matters and should be trusted with a veteran. Y'all have a phenomenal day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you keep those questions coming. Take care.